We go to Minnesota.
Gay as fuck.
Hundreds of millions of dollars in fraud.
What?
Tampon Tim and American hater Ilhan Omar are involved.
Whoa, wait a minute. There, that's better.
Well, are you retarded?
Great job by the FBI for cracking the case. No, it was a YouTuber named Nick. Don't call me Shirley. Well, his name is Shirley.
What the fuck?
I'm Jazz Berganzo on this. A guy who makes YouTube videos.
What?
Has better investigating skills than the FBI and Homeland Security combined.
You gotta be fucking kidding.
You serious?
But it's what's next. What's up, everyone? Jazz Berganzo, what's next? Your daily dose. Hope you guys are feeling good today on this Monday. Well, this story has just exploded over the last 24 to 48 hours, and if you don't know, you pretty much have had your head in the sand, on a different planet, or all of the above. The Somali, Minnesota fraud case. Almost $1 billion in fraud. Tampon Tim, America hater, and married to her brother, Ilhan Omar, are involved. And the FBI did a masterful job, shall I say, in cracking the case. I know. I started laughing too. No, it was some young gentleman named Nick, don't call me Shirley. Well, his name is Shirley, by the way. A YouTuber who was able to crack the case, expose the fraud, and he pretty much did it all in one weekend, or shall I say one day. And who noticed it? The Vice President of the United States, J.D. Vance. But we're going to show you a little bit of that. Also, we're going to give you a little clip on who Nick Shirley really is. And here we go. This comes out of Breitbart. J.D. Vance praises YouTuber Nick Shirley's report on Somali fraud in Minnesota, far more used for journalism than all the Pulitzer Prize winners in 2024. Ouch. President J.D. Vance praised YouTuber Nick Shirley's report on fraud in the state of Minnesota, stating that Shirley had done far more use for journalism than any of the above in 24. Vance's post came in response to a video posted on X, which he and his team exposed Minnesota fraud. Shirley explained that he and his team uncovered over $110 million in one day. Of course, here's a full 42 minutes of my crew and I exposing Minnesota fraud. This might be the most important work I've done yet, Shirley wrote. We've uncovered $110 million in one day. Like it and share it, of course. It's around like wildfire. It's time to hold these corrupt politicians and fraudsters accountable. But who is Nick Shirley? And here's a little bit of background on him. This is Nick Shirley. A bit about me. I'm 23 years old, 100% independent. Have posted a full YouTube video every week for the past 104 straight weeks. Helped expose border crisis. First American ever to film inside CCOP. Briefed President Trump on the White House about Antifa and ended Tampon Tim's career. No? Would you like more? Sure. This comes from his page, Nick Shirley's page on Rumble.
Others enrich themselves, all at the U.S. taxpayers' expense.
Hello, we'd like to ask where the money's going. What do you guys think about the fraud that's taking place here in Minnesota?
I don't think anybody is enabling fraud to happen.
Hold Governor Walz accountable for this.
What was this money spent on? 1.26 million. What was that money spent on? There aren't any kids.
Answer the question. Are there children? There's no children inside this building.
Potentially the largest fraud scandal in U.S. history is taking place in Minnesota as
Facts.
literally billions of dollars have been funneled through Somali
$18 billion!
businesses.
Oh my
so
gosh!
much fraud, it could actually almost replace the entire GDP of Somalia. These fraudsters have worked hand in hand with the Minnesota government as they enabled billions of dollars to be given to fraudulent businesses underneath welfare purposes.
Let me say something real quick. Just to defend the Somalis. The fact of the matter is I think they're misunderstood, and I'm going to stand by my word.
Some of this money eventually landed in the hands of terrorist groups in Somalia like the Al-Shabaab and others enrich themselves, all at the U.S. taxpayers' expense. And in this video, we will break down all of the fraud from start to finish, from going to the fraudulent businesses and confronting the people who are making millions of dollars from the government. And we will also be confronting the incompetent government leaders who let this fraud happen. And to make this happen, I met up with a man who's been doing his own investigation for years now, as he has seen the fraud firsthand. His name is David. Let's get into this and be prepared to be shocked. How deep is this fraud?
We're going to show a little bit of
inside
it.
of Minnesota?
It is far worse than anybody can imagine. You heard it's 7 to 10 billion and maybe more, and now the numbers have been revised and put out there publicly that they think it's more like 8 billion. How I got involved is that where my office is here in Minneapolis, I'm sort of in the heart of all of this fraud, and I would see these child care centers. I said, well, there aren't any kids there. It's the middle of the day, and all I see are a couple of guys standing out front smoking. And then I'd go by another daycare, and I'd see the same thing. I said, well, where do these kids play? And so I started to go online and look, and I said, this place is licensed for 80 children. They had 0 children. Every time I went by there, they never had a single child there. Then I started to see all these transportation companies going around, and it was always a Somali driver. And I said, well, that's great. They're out there transportation, contributing, but they never had a passenger. Never, ever once.
No.
And I said, well, what is all this transportation? What are they doing? So then I found out that in Minnesota, they have something called non-emergency medical transportation. So this is going to the dentist's office, therapy, whatever it might be.
Translation, Uber.
And I said, well, how many of these companies are there? And the research came back that there are 1,020 of them, and more than 800 of them are Somali-owned. Nobody from the state of Minnesota ever cross-checks to see if any rides were ever actually provided. All they did was write the check.
So right here we have all this paperwork. And how
I hear no evil. I see no evil. I speak no evil.
are you getting all this information about the fraud?
A lot of it is through my own research, and then I have some contacts at the Capitol going back many, many years, and so the data that I'm getting is 100% accurate, coming directly from research done by people at the state Capitol.
All this paperwork right here, what are we looking at?
The areas of fraud that I have numbers for are mostly related to childcare. This is massive fraud.
But it could go further, much further and much deeper. This rabbit hole's deep, yo.
That is beyond anyone's imagination, the scope. And so, for example, there's a child care not far from here in Minneapolis that has two child cares listed at the same address. And together, they're licensed supposedly for 120 children. I have never seen a single child there ever, and I've been by that place at least 100 times.
Shock and awe. My thoughts. It goes on a lot further. It's about, give or take, about 42 to 45 minutes. Check it out. Nick Shirley on Rumble and also Nick Shirley on YouTube. But what? Neither the FBI, Homeland Security, or any Minnesota state law enforcement agency either didn't know, or they were too stupid to actually do the investigating. Now, they're too stupid, I'm going to blame on Minnesota. They didn't know? But when you have some of the most powerful agencies in the country who didn't know that almost $18 billion potentially in this fraud case, the biggest fraud case in U.S. history, and the governor knew nothing about it. Governor Tampon Tim, the gay governor of Minnesota, didn't know anything about it, you know. The representative of Somalia herself, America hater Ilham Omar, didn't know what the hell was going on when I call bullshit all day long and twice on weekends. And then you have someone who just does YouTube videos. No one knew who Nick Shirley was. Up until, I mean, well, I'm sorry. There were some people who knew who Nick Shirley was. I knew a little bit of him. I didn't know of him. I didn't know that this guy was disinvolved. This guy was this good at his job. But that's scary though. A YouTuber. That's all he was. That's all he is. That's all he claims to be. Is better at investigative skills in cracking the largest fraud scheme in the United States history than any of our federal agencies. What does that say? What does that say? Incompetency? Stupidity? Ignorance? All the above? Well, Nick, I tip my hat to you, sir. Great job. Continue doing what you're doing. Stay strong. You know, of course, they're coming after you. The libs are coming after you. And you're going to need protection. I'm sure you've already been told that. And with that being said, I'm Jazz Borganzo. This is What's Next. When you see more like this, please leave a comment below. Like it, share, subscribe to it. Hit that notification bell so you guys never miss a thing. Continue spreading the word about the show. Appreciate you guys watching as always. And we'll see you next time. Peace.